record. So again, today we're talking about our most recent updates to BigMarker. So we pushed out an update last week that included a few different new features and fixed items on our site. So we'll just go through some of those today. It's a pretty casual discussion, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. We're here with Megan actually today is joining us. She's another community hero at BigMarker that just joined us. So she'll be manning our chat. If you have any questions, feel free to chat and she'll try to answer them. If not, relay questions to me. Again, if you have any questions about BigMarker, feel free to always email me, joe@bigmarker.com, or you can also email my other counterpart, Andy@bigmarker.com, if you have any questions about the platform in general. So we'll begin. So these are on the agenda today. We're going to be talking about the community chat, the new conference invite with email reply, the webinar widget, the conference system test, conference guest access reviews, and some of the coming updates. So these are the big updates that we've had recently that we'll go through. So the first one's the community chat. Just to know about the community chat, we've added audio and video recently, so you can actually use it as a video chat or audio chat service, as well as a text chat service. So the thing to do the audio and video, you must be on Google Chrome or Firefox to share your audio or video. This just happens to be because of the type of HTML version we are using to share the audio and video. It's just something you have to do. You can do up to 4 cameras at a time. So compared to this conference room, in the conference rooms you can do 12. On the audio video chat you can only do 4. It is not recorded, so this is an impromptu chat that just happens in the live time it's happening, and that's all it lives for. So it's a nice way to, if you want to just have a discreet conversation with somebody, you can. Anyone inside the community can chat at any time. So if any of your members are signed into your community, they are free to join that chat. People who are not signed into the community or are not part of the community cannot join in on that chat. Just to note. So the community chat looks like this. So if you're on your community, there's a little button in the bottom right-hand corner that says chat. And when you've popped it out, it looks like this big old chat right here, where you can see people chatting on the left. And then there's a button for you to share your camera or mic. So you can click share camera. Depending on the service you use, I use Firefox. I get a little pop-up in the left-hand corner of my screen asking me to share it. And then I can share my webcam and microphone. And then you can see on the right who is actually on here. Again, you can have 4 webcams published in this space. And it shows, again, all those 4 webcams and the audio and video. Again, this is a good way if you want to have an impromptu chat with the people who are inside your community. So that is the community chat. It's a brand new feature. So again, you just click to open the chat and you start chatting. The next updates happen to do with the conference landing page. So we haven't done any updates relatively recently to the conference room itself. Those updates are coming here in the future. Instead, we've worked on the conference, the before the conference and after the conference features. So we've updated our invite. We added the webinar widget. We have a new system test and guest access and reviews. So they go through as, well, this is the new webinar invite. We've done a lot of research recently about how to add a better invite to make it so it's easier for people to attend conferences and to increase the amount of people who actually click and open your conference invitations. So this is the new invite. You can see that it has at the top, sorry, let me scroll in. At the top it'll have the name of the conference, the time the conference / webinar is happening, a button to actually reserve your spot right at the beginning, a note from you, so this is the customized note you get to put in, and then underneath that we have the topic of the conference, who's actually the main host of the conference, so we have Andy as the speaker of this one, what is the price of the conference, host image right here, big old button to reserve your spot so you can't miss how to reserve your spot, the section the conference will cover, and then also a little note that says, please register, seats are limited. If you cannot make it at this time, that's okay. Registering will give you access to the recording, so another way to give people access to the recording. And then at the bottom, we have reserve your spot again. So we have 3 places to reserve your spot in this new invite. So it makes it a little bit easier for your attendees to reserve their spots. So this was for a lunch and learn that actually just happened today. And at the bottom as well is if this is a public conference, your invitees will see ways to share it as well. So even if they can't attend to one of your public conferences / webinars, they can share about it. That is the new invitation. Again, it's supposed to increase the amount of people who are actually attending your conferences and registering for them. So if you have any questions about that, please send us an email and we can explain a little bit more about how each part works. And then, the other feature updated to the conference invite, sorry, I forgot to mention this, is in the past, when your attendees would email into the conference invite, we would get a lot of people that would email in and say, hey, I can't make this conference, or, hey, there are other times that you're hosting it. Well, those emails were sent to our do not reply inbox, where only Andy and I would be able to see those people's emails. Well, now we have the system set up where it will email into your mailroom on BigMarker. So on BigMarker, when you're signed in, you can see home, and then there's a little mail icon right here. You can click that mail icon, and it goes to your mailroom. And this is now where the replies to your conference invites will happen. So if somebody asks you to take you off of your list, or if they can't make it, or, hey, I'd like to know more about it, you'll get an email telling you that that person has emailed you. You'll get a message on here. So we are now starting to send those over to you as the host, so you have a better way to connect with your attendees. So it's not just, our do not reply BigMarker email sending back to them, or one of Andy or myself emailing them back, telling them how to register for the conference. So it's something to note. You can reply back to these messages in the mailroom, and it will send an email to that member or non-member. So the next thing we have is our widget. So our webinar widget. So we've added a widget relatively recently as well. So you're on your conference landing page. You have all the different information about your conference, conferences going on, and then we have the invite over here to the far right. We have invite people, share socially, invite others. And below that, we have embed into your website. So one of the things you can do is embed this widget into your website. And basically what it is it's a little preview of your conference / webinar. So it allows people to be able to register very easily from your website. So we have a quick question. We'll go back for a second. Does the reply go to the host or the community message page? So it goes to your mailroom, and it goes to the invitees inbox. So it goes to the invitees mailroom. So right now that's how it's set up. So if you were a guest that invited somebody to the conference to attend, your friend to attend this webinar, when they reply, it will go to the invitee. So most of our invitees, the people who are actually inviting people on BigMarker, are actually the hosts. Most of the time it is not the attendees or whomever else that are actually sending out tons of invitations. Usually it's the host again that is. So most of the time the invites you send out, the responses will go to you specifically. So again, these are just to the individual. They're not to the whole group to see, if that makes sense. Again, so we have now let's move forward, the webinar widget. So again, on the conference landing page, once you've created your conference, you'll see this little section that says embed in your website on the far right. So all you do is click here to copy the embed code to a clipboard. So what that'll do is that'll bring a pop-up onto your screen that tells you how to embed this widget onto your site. So you have your code. You can make the widget big or small. So the small one makes it a fraction of the size. You can customize the button text and color, and then you can copy your widget and then put that onto your own website. So now here is an example of one of the widgets on our blog. It's tour time, take a tour. So on the side of all of our blogs now, we're able to embed this widget so that people can register for our conferences here on BigMarker. So that's one of the things we've done, is now added the widget to make it so it's easy for people to register for your conferences or eventually watch your recordings from those widgets. So something to note is each widget is just for that specific conference. There are no series of widgets. It's just the one conference. And that also means you cannot watch the conference from that widget. It's just to register. It's just a registration widget. Yep. Yeah, the widget itself is you have to embed each widget onto your conference. One of the future updates we want to have is actually a conference series where you can create a webinar series, and eventually with that, that'll have its own widget where it'll have the whole series through the widget. So each one of these is just individual. So next we have a new system testing bar. So once the conference is opened, you go to your conference page and you'll see this bright green bar that says enter webinar. We've made it very clear how to enter webinars. You shouldn't be able to miss how to enter the webinar. You just find that enter webinar bar and then click the button to enter. But underneath this, we have a little button that you can see that says view full system test results. So we are now testing your browser and your system before you even enter the conference room. Click to enter, register, everything like that. So basically 24 hours before the conference starts, you'll start seeing these little buttons that say view full system results. And basically it tells you if you passed or failed. So if you were to fail this, this bar would not be green. This bar would actually be, I think it's a pink hue / red hue that shows up here that tells you your system has failed. And then when you click to open it, it'll say what you failed. So, for example, if you look on here, it'll show your operating system, web browser, Adobe Flash, local network. So now we're actually checking your local network to make sure you do not have a firewall issue. So for your attendees, they should see before they enter if they have a firewall issue. And then to the far right, you can actually check your webcam and microphone, so you can actually click here to test it, and you can check your speakers as well to make sure your speakers are working properly. So if you have attendees that are having issues, they should open their full system test result, and more than likely, if they're having issues, they've actually failed one of these tests, and it should tell them beforehand that they have failed it. So just to note that we are doing these system tests beforehand to let you know if you are up to date. You can click more info to find out how you're up to date on them. Just makes it a little easier for you and your attendees to enter the conference. Next, we have guest access. So let's imagine you're not signed in. We can see that I need to log in here, but I still want to enter this webinar. So I can click to enter. And then we get a new pop-up that's telling you to please sign in. So you can either sign in with Facebook, Google, or with your email. Or you can join as a guest. So joining as a guest means you can join without actually having joining BigMarker. Just put in your name, your email, and you click go to go. Just as a little secret, you actually don't even need to hit your name and your email. You can actually just click go to attend. So right now you can actually enter as a guest. This is any webinar, any web conference, any meeting on BigMarker. You cannot turn this off. It is something that's always on. So just to note that anybody at any time can enter as a guest. Then we have a question. I do not remember if I asked you before. If I host a paid webinar and it's recorded, will attendees still have to pay to view this recording? Actually, that is a new feature that just came out as well, and I did not include it in this slide because I thought it was semi-minor. In the past, if you hosted a paid webinar, anybody could watch the recording. It was one kind of flaw in the paid system. Now it's set up that you have to have a ticket to watch the paid recording, so you would have had to pay before the conference starts. So if you go to one of those paid conferences, you'll just see a little note that says you need a ticket to watch this. Please sign in to claim your ticket. In the future, we want to have it set up so that you as the host can select a price that you'd like to sell your recording at. Right now, we don't have that particular mechanism in it, but at least you can save it so that basically people who have not paid can't watch the recording. So at least they do need to pay beforehand. So we have that So guest access, they can enter as a guest, your name, your email, you can enter. And then that just shows up as their name in the People tab. Now we have moving on to ratings. So after your conference is over, any conferences on BigMarker, meetings, webinars, anything like that, if your attendee comes back to your conference landing page, they will be prompted to review the conference or webinar. So this review is just literally a how did they enjoy it. It's a 5-star, 5 being the best, 1 being the worst, and they can leave comments as well. You, as the host, have access to these comments. If it's a public webinar, everyone has access to these comments and reviews. So it's just something to note that you can review it afterwards. So please give this a 5-star review after you're done. No, I'm just kidding. Also, too, if you are hosting a chip-in conference, people will be prompted to chip in again when they are reviewing at the conference. So again, if you're hosting a chip-in conference, they will be prompted to chip in again at that time. So I can scroll in so you can see these reviews. So review, this is given a 4 stars out of 5 so far. And then this person said awesome. So that's the reviews. You can click this little thing that says 4 reviews to read more of the reviews. Right now, reviews are kind of more of a minor feature on the BigMarker conference landing page. In the future, reviews will have more of a prominent role, especially for webinars and us becoming more of a webinar platform. Eventually, we will have our homepage right now. If you get on our homepage, or our Find page, just has conferences ranked by what BigMarker's team features, upcoming conferences, and then past conferences. In the future, the conference Find pages and things like that will start being ranked based on host ratings. We will give it a point system where eventually the host ratings will actually matter a great deal on how conferences are ranked, and then how they're shown to the other fellow attendees and future attendees on BigMarker, potential attendees. So coming updates, this actually mentions what Howard's actually talking about right there is, and this rolls into what's coming soon, is better webinar recommendations. So this is tied into reviews, so we want to become better at actually recommending which webinars you would enjoy attending and things like that, and which ones we would suggest for you, and ratings will play a very key role in that. We are doing a big update right now to audio and video. So right now on BigMarker, audio and video on 2 separate streams, so that's why my lips aren't 100% in sync with my audio. So it's a video stream and it's an audio stream, and we try our hardest to match them up, but they're never going to be perfect. Well, in the future, it's going to be one stream, so audio and video will be tied completely together, and when that happens, the audio and video is much clearer, much better, and much more succinct. This will also mean that our recordings will have succinct audio and video, too, which will be very, very nice. So that's a big update to the audio and video system. Basically, it'll mean clearer video, clearer audio, better audio and video. It's going to be great. This update's taken a little bit longer than we had hoped, just because it's a pretty big one to completely change your whole audio and video system. And then we have more registration control for organizers and hosts. So as we've moved to guest access, the next step is going to be allowing hosts to customize what their guests actually need to enter the conference room to attend. So we want to have it so set up in the future so you have more control over what your attendees need to provide information-wise. Do they need to be BigMarker members? Do they need to be members of your community, etc.? We're also redesigning the home page, the personal home page. So there's going to be a big redesign of your personal home page and the onboarding process of your personal home page. We're also redesigning how you create a community as well. Will the video and audio still use Flash? Yep, this next version will still use Flash. The version after that, though, is we're going to be starting to move away from the Flash system to something bigger and better for the future. The community chat does not actually use Flash. So if you use the community chat video and audio, that does not use Flash at all. So that's just something to note as well on that one. So that's why you have to use it on Firefox and Google Chrome. And my guess is the conference room will move closer toward this system like the community chat, if I were to put money on it. And then the closing overview too, just to make sure we caught everything. Again, we added guest access, community chat, chip-in widget. Chip-in was a feature from last time, but we've added a few more tweaks to it. The new conference invite, and then we went over next updates. If you have any questions, please follow BigMarker on any of these things. Megan, so far, who's been helping out with the chat, has been adding a lot to the blog. So we're going to be adding a lot more posts to the blog that are definitely webinar video conferencing centric. So there's some pretty basic blogs right now about what is a webinar and what is a video conference, if you wanted breakdowns of those definitions, to all sorts of things about how to host webinars and video conferences in a much better manner. Again, you can also check out our YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter pages. And finally, if you ever have any questions, feel free to email Andy or myself at bigmarker.com. I'm going to end the recording quick. There we go.